Welcome to Two Women in Crypto, a weekly podcast birthed on a whim by two women who are excited about the cryptocurrency landscape and have a shared passion about empowering others to step into the digital, tokenized world of the future. We offer tips, tricks, and our own individual insights as to how to begin to navigate this shift. We are not financial advisors nor experts. We are just here to encourage you to look at the possibilities. So welcome to the future. You're right on time. Good morning. Coming in hot.
Coming in hot. Good morning.
Coming in hot. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Two Women in Crypto. I'm so sorry. We're a couple of minutes late.
Hey, we are in the flow of life.
Are we?
Like I put on there, everything's a moving target. Every moment, you don't know what you're going to get these days. I think everybody's experiencing all kinds of questionable or pondering circumstances. So yeah.
Yeah, let's ponder this.
Let's ponder.
Just to let everyone know, my wife has been trying to come home, but it's been one thing after another. And our car seized on the highway yesterday. She is safe, but she was stranded in Binghamton, New York, and there's no car rentals to be had. She can't rent a car. So she is getting picked up by her family, going back to where her family lives, and we're just going to buy a car so she can go home. And that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's just wild. Well, like you said, first and foremost, she's safe.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. Like, she was panicking because she couldn't even make it like off like this to the shoulder, and the cop came, put flares all around her, and she was like so nervous. She's like, honey, what are we going to do about the car? And I was like, throw it in the garbage. Just get off the road. I was like,
yeah. So thank goodness she's okay, for sure. Absolutely.
Yep. So here we are. You know, we can't, life just keeps happening.
Oh, it absolutely does. Absolutely does. Hey, before we dive into all the news, let's just do some housekeeping really quick. We have our Q&A this Saturday. Tomorrow.
We do. Q&A tomorrow, 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 Pacific time.
Yes. So $10. I just wanted to mention this on the front side of things before we dive in, so people can hear it on the front side versus at the very, very tail end. But we would love to have you join us. And I know that our membership, all those lovely beings, will be with us already, but we would love to have some new faces in the group as well. So yeah, just wanted to touch base on that.
Yeah, super excited. So looking forward to everyone's questions tomorrow. There's obviously been a lot of things going on in the market. You know, we're going to touch base on that. But kind of wanted to kick the show off. You know, I was just thinking about it and, you know, coming across some research about artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of what I wanted to throw out there. Imagine a car. You ready for this? Imagine a car that's its own corporation, that owns itself, generates revenue, giving people rides so it can pay for the gas, maybe if it's paying for the electricity to run the car, but it's generating its own income by giving people rides. And it could pay its car insurance, it can pay for its repairs. No human intervention. There's no human involvement.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is what's going to be happening. I did like a deeper dive. If everybody wants to look this up, there's a company that's going to release a taxi share in New York City. It's called Joby. I think I mentioned it probably about a year ago. Joby. It's a publicly traded company, FAA approval to launch, I believe, in 2023 or 2024. So imagine you're in New York City and you want to go visit your friend in Long Island. You can take an aircraft, fly to Long Island up to 150 miles on one charge, FAA approved. It's a done deal. There will be a pilot. at first, but think about how long it's going to take before it's autonomous, because the future is now. It's happening. And I just want everyone to kind of sit with that, because the more research that I do, the more I'm like, if we think about cross-border payments or, smart contracts for licensing agreements, so if you're a lawyer, an accountant, someone like me, a technical recruiter, any job that can be automated will be automated. And we know this to be true, right, Kel? Because Jerome Powell keeps telling us the economy is recovering, but to a new economy leveraged on technology. And the technology is artificial intelligence and the blockchain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was reading, it's kind of like we've always, as a child, you and I both would watch the Jetsons, right? And we were like, hey, man, I can't wait till we have our own flying saucer or whatever it is to take us here and there. Yeah. You're speaking of that, but you're also, tapping onto the energy about the powers that be, so however you want to view it, wanting us not to own our own vehicles and to do ride shares all the time, to limit that impact as well. I was reading an article on that. So you won't be owning your vehicles in the future. For the most part, you'll just be doing shared vehicle. And they're going to be pushing that agenda as well. So lots of things shifting.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and it's kind of like, when I think about oil, right? Because everything runs on oil right now, right? So I know there's a lot of people out there that are super concerned about climate change, and we need to do everything that we can. But I think the responsible thing that we could have done was to transition. And we're not transitioning, we're halting. You think about what Biden did the first day of office. He shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Right. And I know there's a lot of people that were like, yay. But we really need to think things through and do research, because we grow our food using oil. We run our cars using oil. Okay. And as far as I know, 99.9% of all people that I know go to a gas station and actually put gas in your car. So,
absolutely.
Right. And the way that they're going to push us to use electricity, right, it's for electric cars, is to lower the amount of gas, right, oil that's coming into our country. Don't let the United States produce oil anymore. And then that $65,000 Chevy Blazer that runs on electric is now a good deal.
Right.
So,
yeah, exactly.
To me, I think it's super irresponsible, and people are going to be hurt by this, right? Because
well, yeah, I mean, it's a massive shift, and it's going to really corner people and paralyze them really in many ways. Yeah. Undoubtedly. And the other thing I want to mention this, good morning, Heather. She's in the space with us. She did have a question, and she brings up a very good point, which I know we're all aware of, and I'll put it here at the bottom. It's so how and what jobs really will be available to humans as the technology continues to become our ruling force? That's a great question, right?
That's a great question. So, here's a couple of examples. Kelli and I, right? We run an e-commerce business. We do our podcast. We are content creators. When you create content, you will get paid for the content that you create. Now, you can also run an e-commerce. Everybody go check out twowomeninCrypto.com. We have t-shirts, mugs. That's another way we're going to be able to generate revenue. I also believe for, because a lot of the surgeries, counseling, it's all going to be automated. Okay. So what's going to happen is people are actually going to pay a premium to speak to a real person, right, to get mental health counseling, which I believe is an extremely growing industry right now, right?
Well, I mean,
the world is a little overwhelming.
Well, Really? I was like, right? I mean, how many times have we talked this week? Like, did that just happen? What just took place there? And I think to that point, the importance of human interaction, right? It's the importance of being able to see a facial expression or feel the emotion from another individual, and to be able to have that really deep intellectual dive with somebody who's experiencing life, right? That's not going to
Exactly.
happen with the AI. But it's a big thing. It's something for us to be aware of. And you're right, the entrepreneurial spirit is the one that's going to drive what it is and how we can create our own worlds outside of the AI, period.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And like again, like, you know, if I was a parent and I had young children, I would be driving their education into programming, robotics, data analysis.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, it's just like the future economy is going to be leveraged on technology. I also think that, you know, maybe being like going into like plumbing would be really good, because I think it'll be hard for like little tiny bots to go underneath our sinks and stuff. Like I've thought about this. So anything that's going to be difficult, but if you're a driver, an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, a CSA, like think about the nursing homes, they have Grace the robot that's going to be rolled out nationally to provide care for people.
Yeah, I mean I completely hear what you're saying. It's hard for me to wrap my mind
I know.
around it, especially because I have family members, of course, in those industries. But and of course, the greater population. I just can't imagine till being in such a sterile environment for our healthcare, or but you're right. I mean, the painting is on the wall, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the bottom line. And like, you know, and like when I listen to some of the folks out there that talk about some of this stuff, like I'm it's like kind of frustrating to me, because like I try to stay grounded and I try to stay in a place of love, because there's so much fear and like leaders in the community, and we cannot come at this with fear, right, Kelly? Because
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah,
we won't make good decisions.
right.
You know what I mean? So we really want to stay grounded. And I truly believe that like as the centralized systems fall and we move into a more decentralized world, sure, the next 8 years, Kelly and I aren't going to lie, it's going to be bumpy. It's not going to be that great, right? We're seeing people, you know, like kind of like losing their housing and just like not having enough money to like buy food and things like that. But like we are transitioning. So it's always during that disruption, you know, that we see a lot of hurt and despair. But we will move, I believe, to like a high tech, high touch type of environment if we choose to do so.
Right. There's going to be choices, worlds in which you choose to exist in. And even right now, we have a choice. We can choose to exist in a place of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or
Yeah.
we can choose to exist in a place of, yes, understanding that we are in a time of great great change, but be in a place of trust, and flow, and love, right? And just be able to witness it for what it is, and make, not, and it's hard not to make emotional decisions, because we're all, it's heightened emotionally on the media front and everything else. So just be mindful of where you choose to get your news, how you choose to incorporate it, and let it alter you or not.
Yeah, yeah, because I think it's like it's just so important for everyone at this moment of time to take personal responsibility to do the
Absolutely.
research. And I know everyone who's a part of Two Women in Crypto, like everyone's kind of doing this, right? You're doing the research, you're asking the right questions, and it's so important because, you know, I remember Kelly, like back in 2005, you know, when I started researching the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, I can see, oh, they had an Agenda 2021 for sustainable development, and they make it sound so good on paper, but it's like people told me I was extreme, mentally ill, like you're crazy, you're a nut. And like, here we are in 2022 and everything's coming to fruition. And it's not a conspiracy theory because we're getting the information directly from these like agencies' websites, and they're telling us what their plan is. And again, the central banks can say everyone's going to use one currency and that's it. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, because it won't, because we have the blockchain. The blockchain is decentralized and people are really, really smart. So there'll be two worlds. One's going to be centralized. Sure, go get your universal basic income. You will be on a social credit score. If you don't believe me and Kelli, go to Bank of America, go to Merrill Lynch, go to Truist. It's ESG.
Yep, read the fine print.
Governance.
It's all there.
It's all there. So this is their plan. But what our plan is to like create a sustainable community of like-minded people. And it's kind of like that movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And there's people all across the United States and all across the world that are doing this. So we're going to change society from within, especially after like listening to these folks talk about like the economy and what's going on. We need to be the change we want to see in the world. And then that's going to create the change. We're not going to fight the Fed. We're going to actually just create a new society.
Yeah. Well, we have to in order to survive, in my opinion. It's not an option.
Well, yeah,
it's not an option at all.
But Kelli, you and I have been talking about this week. There are people that want to get microchipped, that want to merge their brain. Everybody look up Neuralink. It was created by Elon Musk. People want to become transhuman. That's fine, but don't force us, because we're sovereign beings. And we have, you know, like some people believe in spirit, believe in God, believe that, you know, like through the algorithms of uploading our consciousness to a computer, will we live in the matrix eternally? Are our thoughts our own? So these are you know, we have to like take a step back and question everything.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And people do want this. Like there are people and young people, like I've talked to some young folks, they want to sit on the couch and play video games, which is another way you can earn money, is play to earn. And you can play video games and earn tokens.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. Like there, I think we even mentioned there's a thing called the sweat token. So you can download an app and you could be monitored. Okay. And you could go for a walk and you'll earn a sweat token for going on a mile walk.
Right.
And no judgment. If you want to live your life like that, go for it. I will not.
Right. No, I think it is. I mean, I think there's going to be some very lucrative ways to go about the world in that, you know, in that sphere. It's certainly not in resonance with me, but for a lot of the population, it will be. And for a lot of the younger folks that I was speaking with a friend just recently, that there's some family members within her sphere that are in their mid-20s that just don't want to work out in the world. So they've done these other things. And I'm certainly not placing judgment or choosing not to work, period. But it's just such a different world that we're in right now.
Yeah. And I look at like the programming, like how are young people being programmed? You know, like what vision are they being told about the world? And it's just like, you know, Kelli and I were in our 50s, like when we were born, like there was no computer. I graduated from college and then with my master's with no computer, no cell phone. So we see how fast the technology has like changed and advanced. And the younger folks, they're so comfortable. Like it's like their minds are different than someone like ours. And again, like I just think like they're just more prone to do it, right? Without even asking questions. Like they're so used to not having privacy because everything is monitored. And you know, and it's just, I think again, it just depends on the parents, because if you go to school, they're not telling you these things.
Oh no, and that's the other. Well, we're not even going to go there. We can. I mean, there's so many threads we could go down.
Go there, but we're not going there.
We're not going to go there.
Email us offline if you want to know about the new curriculum they're rolling out. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah,
we're not going there.
No, we're not.
And
that's not what this is about. But it is important to lean in that. That's all we're going to say about it. But we're really, this podcast, when we first started, we were really focused, of course, on crypto, which we still are, in the blockchain. But it's very interwoven with the changes that we're having rolled out across the board. So I love the fact that we tap into these other subjects, but we won't go down the really heightened ones too much.
Yeah. But if you guys want to talk about that tomorrow, bring your questions.
Yeah.
But, even little things, right, Kelli? Like, like you're in Portland. So I think you guys are rolling out the technology a lot faster than like my tiny town in Florida. Yeah. And like there's QR codes, right? If you go to a restaurant, you scan your phone, the QR code, you can get the menu. So think of it this way. You can have Flippy, who's flipping the burgers, or your meatless burgers, coming soon to a restaurant near you. So you can flip your burgers with Flippy, and then the AI little tray comes up and gets your food, delivers it to you. You pay and order from your phone, no human interaction.
Right. Absolutely. Well, you go to a tap house and you go to, there's 40 taps on the wall, and some of them, you just push a button, you get a glass, you push a button, you don't even ever have to interact with your server. That's something here in Portland. So there's never any exchange. You just go up to whatever one you want. So yeah, it's like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like sci-fi is reality now, right? Yeah. So like the things that we were shown growing up it's almost like, they like predispose you to your future, and that's just happening now. But super interesting, right? All of this stuff like fascinates me, and it's going to take time, right? Like I know people are like so frustrated about, crypto, and they're like, again, the market's pumping, and we'll talk about that, but they're like, I'm so sick of crypto because it's so volatile. But it's like, to change the entire financial economy and the way that we do business takes a really long time.
Yeah.
And I found an old video of Jerome Powell saying, we've been working on this for decades. So what they tell us is what they tell us. And what the truth is something that we need to research and find out.
Yeah, exactly. And the big thing about the markets, before we get into there, is that, if you've been investing, you may be down right now, but you haven't lost anything until you sell. So if you just hang on and know that what you've placed your money in are good investments.
Yeah, because you made an investment in the financial future, which is awesome. Okay. And again, as more and more countries stop using the dollar, like we talked about a lot of this last week, like we have to stop thinking in dollars. And it was really kind of fun because Rowan's brother works for Honda. So, we'll get like a Honda or whatever. And, he was kind of asking us about like, what's your budget? And her automatic response, which I thought was brilliant, was, do you accept Bitcoin?
There you go. Right. Exactly.
And again, like we're like more and more places will accept Bitcoin. And like what Kelli and I are trying to do as well is like the cryptocurrency market is way more than Bitcoin. It's way more than Ethereum, right? Because there's like the payment rails, there's protocols, there's the interconnectivity that's going to happen to have a frictionless, seamless experience on the internet as we transfer value. And, and that's like really, really cool, which will drive prices down. Technology is deflationary. So we're in a high inflationary era, but the more the blockchain gets adopted, it will drive prices down. Think about farmers who work on farms. Soon it's all going to be autonomous. That's going to drive the prices down. So we just, as things get disrupted, we just have to be prepared so we're not scared and just wait it out.
Well, it's really interesting when I look at what the landscape is going to look like moving forward in certain sectors, such as advertising, marketing and advertising, how people will be reachable through NFTs and the metaverse. So for instance, you're a mom and pop store on Fifth Avenue, you're not going to be reaching people through your typical means. So even these advertising and marketing companies are trying to figure out how are they going to evolve. So are they going to evolve by an NFT? And if you want to see what we've got going on, you've got to go visit our store and yada, yada, yada. And within that world, you'll see what their sales are. That's what's really taking place here, to have those virtual things. So if you're out there, doing any type of newsletter and things like that on a monthly, and that's your main subscription based, I would be really looking at what does the NFT and the metaverse have of interest for me right now. Yeah. Start thinking, we've all got to start thinking in that realm for what our future financial income looks like, or our income streams. And again, if you want to be in that world, there's going to be two worlds to live in, of course, but I think it'll be really interesting to see how that part plays out too.
No, totally. And it's such a good point. And it's really interesting because like Solana is actually opening up a physical store in New York City, and you could go into the store. They will help you set up your wallet, and they give you an NFT as a present.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
It's like, again, we're still going to be in like a physical and a mixed virtual world for many years,
Sure.
Probably like 8, because we do have the Agenda 2030 through the World Economic Forum, and this is their plan, but it started off as Agenda 21. So they're 9 years behind what they originally had thought, right? To have like this whole new world, and they can have all the plans they want. It doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right. Modifications, of course, along the way, but really that's quite interesting when you look at it from the esoteric side. The 9 years behind, they're actually right on time. It's always planned that way.
Yeah, that's such a good point. That's such a good point.
Planned that way. So,
all right, well, let's talk about the market.
Yeah, we've had some nice little relief rally this week. Been very nice, which is always in correlation typically with the new moon. 5 days prior, 5 days after, we get a nice not that anything's been typical lately, but yeah. What do you have to share this week?
Yeah. So, we definitely saw the market was pumping the day the FOMC meeting was going on and Jerome Powell was speaking. They raised interest rates 0.75%. It was questionable if they were going to raise it 1%. They came in at 0.75. So again, the market pumped, right? If it was a 1%, the market would have went down, but because of expectations, money started flowing back into crypto, which was, which it's great to see, right? I think for all of us, it's just nice to finally see like really hard pumping, Ethereum Classic, synthetics, like just, Ethereum itself, like, and the merge is coming up. So, we're really seeing the market recover for a little while. So here's the other thing. Now, they asked Jerome Powell 3 different times about, is the economy in a recession? And so again, what I'm seeing is that the government is changing the rules as we go. So 2 consecutive negative GDP, gross domestic product, 2 negative quarters, you're in a recession. Technically you're in a recession. But what Biden and Jerome Powell is trying to say is, well, the job market is so strong. People have so much money in their savings accounts. Swear to God.
I'm not sure what planet they live on, but okay, go ahead.
I don't think they might. It's questionable if they're from planet Earth. We don't know. We don't know. But look, the way I always look at things and the way Kelly looks at things is like, hey, we're alive. I went to the grocery store, and again, like, I'm gluten-free, dairy-free. I get my sprouted, like, Ezekiel muffins, and I get my thick cut bacon, and it's $15 for 2 items. So for me, I don't think the economy is looking really good. But with that said, I think there's I'm going to speculate that there's a lot of market manipulation.
Speculate, keyword. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the way Jerome Powell was speaking, which to me is kind of crazy that one man can either pump or dump the market, but that's just the way it is right now. But again, it's just like, once he said, like, the economy is recovering, I think they can manipulate the inflation numbers, and we'll see when they come out in August. They're kind of already telling us that we hit peak inflation. I'm speculating. Okay. I'm not an economist. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not listen to me. But
right.
Research. That's all. Kelly and I are like, look, this is what we're finding. Do your own research and let us know. But I think there's a little bit of manipulation about inflation, Kelly.
I don't know why you would think that, but we'll just, like you said, just do your own research. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah. So, and I think, like, another really interesting thing. So the Biden administration is putting together an inflation relief bill. So we are going to create billions of dollars out of thin air to help bring down inflation.
Okay.
So I'm just throwing that out there. We'll see if it passes. I don't know if it will, but this is their thought process. And when you think about it, our entire economy is a debt-based system. We have to keep creating debt to keep the system going.
Right.
So, whether Jerome Powell's telling us we're going to tighten the reins and we're not, the bottom line is we pay for everything. If the government sends us UBI $1,000 a month, we pay for that by having inflation. Biden's like, I'm not raising taxes for anyone that makes $400,000 or less. He doesn't have to, because every time you go and put gas in your car, every time you go buy food, and what about our electricity bills? I've been hearing some folks' electricity is going from $100 to almost $500 a month.
Yeah,
that's inflation.
Especially in Europe, they're being hit extraordinarily hard, which you can see that's a whole nother conversation. But, oh shoot, I had a thought. I'll have to find it again. It'll come back, that train, darn it.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that's just something to, like, really think about. And I did actually go online and I started pulling information. Let's talk about how strong the job market is right now. Twitter laid off 1/3 of all talent acquisition people. That's me. I used to be a talent acquisition person. 1/3 of all recruiters gone.
Yep.
Do we think that Twitter is going to be hiring more people in the near future after laying off all the recruiters? Google just paused hiring for 2 weeks. We got Gemini, Coinbase, Stitch Fix, which is a really popular online. You can kind of design your own clothes. Really cool. They're laying off people. Tesla, Netflix. Let's see. 7-Eleven, Shopify, Envision. Okay. Ford just laid off 8,000 employees specifically for gas-fueled cars.
Yeah, exactly.
I am so excited to buy a gas car today or Monday or whenever we get a car.
Right.
But I was like, oh man, this is like the best time to buy a vehicle. But again, like, they're kind of like, they're steering the ship right now, right, Kelly? Like, we always talk about steering the ship, but like, they are steering the ship. So again, like, and this is something that absolutely happens when we raise interest rates, companies have to lay people off. They don't have to lay people off. The CEOs and all the executives can take a 15 to 20% pay cut. They could postpone bonuses. That would be a good example of equity, inclusivity. Let's save people's jobs and I'll take a hit. Like, look, if I'm making 5 million a year, all right, I won't take my $1 million bonus this year, and I can pay a ton of my employees to make sure that they can take care of their families. That is not ever happening. Maybe a small mom and pop shop, people that have hearts do that, but big executive companies do not do that. They don't do it. Okay. Elon Musk is not going to take a hit to keep his employees at Tesla. Either is Jeff Bezos. And that's just the way it is, folks. You know, it's like, and again, it's like to kind of think about things like, I believe in capitalism, but with morals.
Well, okay. So, hey, I found my train. So one of the things that we were talking about the printing of money and yada, 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 you know, I would love to take a poll, as in the last 3 to 4 months, how many credit card offers people are getting in the mail all of a sudden. It's like to try to fuel this debt-driven economy. It's like I go to my mail, you know, I pick up my mail maybe once a week or whatever the case may be. And every week that I'm there, I have so many credit card company offers. It's been really interesting because people, number one, you know, they know things are difficult. Number two, they loop you in because it's a debt-driven society within which we live. So here's a card. Now you can make it in the world, and we'll just hold you to the wheel. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up based on that debt-driven comment.
Yeah, because I think that's such a good point. Because one of my friends from New York, she reached out to me and she got an offer. Like if she put a certain amount of money into Citibank, they were going to, in savings, they were going to give her $800.
Yeah.
So when I start to see and hear these things, I start to think bank balance, right? Like, you know, so let's just diversify because we don't know what's going to happen. Anyone who says this is going to happen on this date, like delete them, right? I mean, or just do what you want. I'm not here to tell you, but I always just question things like the media is trying to get so much fear in cryptocurrency right now that I think now, well, you know, maybe not today because the market pumps so hard, but when the media gets negative about crypto, that's when we're probably going to go back up. And
no, absolutely.
Here's another thought that I had, right? We're almost in August. Okay, so the next reading that we're going to get is, you know, we'll get the inflation for August and then September. I wouldn't be surprised if Jerome Powell says, it looks like we hit peak inflation. Let's just not raise rates and let's see what happens. We have midterm elections coming up. Everything is super political. These people want to get reelected. So I believe by November, the markets will go up. I really believe this because I can see what the narrative is right now. And as they tell people not to buy cryptocurrency, the institutions are probably coming in and buying a lot of the crypto. And then we're going to have.
I think that's a really good point.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. But I do think we still have a pretty volatile segue between now and through September, October timeframe.
Yeah.
I think we have, you know, I think if you look at the charts right now, and I was just listening this morning to Waters Above Crypto. He's a great analysis.
Yeah.
An analyst, if you will, in regards to cryptocurrency. He speaks of the bear flag that's being built out right now. I think we still are very much, this pump is great. And I'm certainly not trying to give, you know, take away the hopium that people have, but I think we also need to be pragmatic. We still have some pretty rough waters ahead of us, in my opinion.
No, I do too. I think we'll come back down. And then, I mean, I'm personally like one more with like the next crash, like the last crash we had, I bought in, we pumped, I sold. And then the next crash, I'm going to buy back in and then we're going to pump and then I'm going to take more money out. And then probably in 2023, I mean, who knows that far out, but I think
Well, it takes about 6 to 8 months to build a bottom when you have a market like this to really build your baseline. So who knows?
Yeah. And typically speaking, like if you look at the history of Bitcoin, right, and all other cryptocurrency to this day still follows Bitcoin, it's only like $1 trillion market today, right? So if we think about Bitcoin usually corrects 85%. I was listening to Richard Hart from, from Wilson Hex, and he still believes like Bitcoin's going to hit 10,000. We don't know if this is true, but again, we always teach dollar cost average because the bottom could be in now or it could be coming. But Bitcoin was $69,000, right? So we're going to go back up. It's not about timing the market. It's about the amount of time in the market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, big proponents, not financial advisors, continue to look at it and don't wait until everybody's like, oh, look at the market. It is amazing. You should be looking at it now.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to kind of switch gears a little bit, I just want to I had a great meeting with Ramiro Romero. Okay. He was the founder and creator of our Above Phone. And like, I've been doing a lot of research on how to overcome like choke points, right? Because cryptocurrency is decentralized. We'll always be able to send our crypto peer to peer without government interference, okay, or any centralized entity. However, if we want to go buy something, right, at like the grocery store, put gas in our car, if and when, when we're totally digital, we want to be able to have a method of payment. And what I have found so far is that through my Above Phone, which doesn't run Google or Apple, we can actually be totally decentralized. And then we can download the Edge app, go on the waiting list right now, and get the debit MasterCard so we can fund our accounts from our Ledger, from our Treasure, from the Edge app, from Safepal, right? Anything that we can kind of funnel the money in, it will be 100% decentralized. So it was kind of cute because Ramiro was asking me like all these questions, and like he didn't know like there's been like it's just been a lot. There's a lot going on in my life right now. So I was kind of like laughing at him, and I was like, I still have so much to learn about the phone. And like, so I'm going to be going through like another training with them. But I learned so much from talking to him. And there's a support person there called Cruiser, who's, I know a bunch of people have already ordered the phone already. Their customer service support is like 100%. And I'm going to be talking with them and we're going to make it even better. Okay. Awesome. And with that said, I learned a lot and I took some notes because they have like an app, an app store, like we have like Google or Apple apps, but they have Aurora apps. Okay. So it's totally private. It's an alternative, okay, to, like the Google Play Store, for example. And then they have like a search bar that's called Chromium. That's an ungoogled search engine. You are not being tracked. Then they have another one, which is really cool, which I learned, and that's called Briar. And that's a peer-to-peer connectivity over the internet. So you could use Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and check this out. If our internet goes down and we all have our Above Phone, it's off grid using the Briar app. We can communicate just like having like a walkie-talkie or a ham radio.
Oh, sweet.
So I had no idea how awesome this phone was because I really don't fully understand it. I'm not a big, I love technology, but I don't really love to use it. But holy cow, like this is like solving a lot of different problems.
So for those that are listening, just check out our website because we have a link for it. We, as far as the above phone is concerned, it's all under our website under sponsors and affiliates. But the more information you bring in with these conversations, that's really, really cool.
I mean, it's so cool. And I asked them, they just for like our community at Two Women in Crypto, 2 women, all caps, you get $25 off the phone. Okay.
Yep. I posted the link in the thread and it'll be on the notes as well.
Awesome. Awesome. And they're working on their tech. And the thing that I love about Ramiro is like, first of all, we ended the conversation with them telling me, they were like, we just love you so much. And I'm like, I love you too. And I will do anything to help them. Like the developers are donating their time to create cutting edge, decentralized ways of communication and applications. Like they have like, instead of using Google Maps, so Google is tracking every step you take, every move you make. They have their own mapping called organic maps. Okay. And it's completely private. There's no data collection. And it's just so important because like what Heather said before, like asking that question, we are going to make money by selling our data because data is more valuable than oil. And I know it's hard to believe right now, but as we get more and more mass adoption, we are going to see this. So if we're going to opt in to like what Kelli said with advertising, right? We go to our Brave browser, we look at basic attention, we look at an advertisement, we get attention token. We are going to get paid for our attention and for our data.
Right.
Okay. So, and the other really thing I wanted to mention, which I had no idea. So like I actually pay for an encrypted video conferencing because, I help people, basically become your own bank, right? Kelli and I do that as part of our service, but they use Jitsu, which is an encrypted video conferencing that Jitsu. So instead of using like Facebook or Zoom, we can actually use this, which we did for our meeting, and it worked seamlessly. It was amazing. And you get a built-in VPN, which works seamlessly. So a lot of problems with VPNs, and I know like with all of us, we've all talked about this in some of our classes. We had to take the VPN off our iPhone, right? Because it doesn't work with a VPN. And I said to Ramiro, people need to know that like you don't even know that you have a VPN on your phone because it doesn't disrupt any service. I've been using this phone for over 6 months now, and it's perfect.
Interesting. Well, I do not have an above phone yet. It is not something that I've stepped into. Yet is the key word there.
And we're going to work on that for you. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, like I don't want to recommend anything that I don't use. And like, so now like I've been using it and I'm becoming a little bit more knowledgeable about it. Like, that's why, like, I really think this is something that we can get behind because I covered like the Linux phone. I covered the Clear phone. Clear phone has already had major data breaches.
Right.
So
I did read something about that.
I want to personally know these folks and what they're doing because I like the idea of taking my phone and scanning my body to get like a medical read. I like that idea. If it's 100% decentralized and no one's collecting my data.
Right.
And that doesn't exist right now. Okay. I don't trust any of these companies, but the reason I trust like Above Phone and Ramiro is because they're part of the Greater Reset. Go to thegreaterreset.org. They just launched a brand new website for folks that are feeling isolated and alone. You could go to the Freedom Cell Network, and it's all across the United States, and you can connect with like-minded people. Okay. And this is like, it's becoming more and more popular, and we're creating a community all across the country. So there's going to be like, if you don't want to start your own community, communities are going to be popping up that we can just join. Like I said to Ramiro, look, I would love to grow my own food, but like I'm basically telling people to plant potatoes because I'm not a farmer. Okay. Right. And I've been trying for over 2 years. I'm not successful. So let's, we can start reaching out to folks like, hey, these are my skills. What are your skills? And kind of like collaborate.
Yeah, absolutely. And they also have a Telegram channel that's called Take Back Our Tech. I shared that link as well in the thread. And of course, the podcast notes will have all the other links that you just mentioned.
I love it. I love it. All right, cool. So yeah, I think that's about I think I covered everything. And yeah, this has been great. And, again, join us tomorrow. If you can't make it tomorrow, I know a lot of people don't understand what the Federal Reserve banking system is. We're teaching a class.
August 6th.
August 6th, same, like 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. We would love to see everybody join. Let's start getting educated because Kelli and I have been learning this for many years. And I have my IT background kind of gives me an edge, but we can all learn this. It just takes a little bit of time. Absolutely.
Yeah, we stretch the brain, learn new things. It's all important, very empowering.
Awesome. I love it.
Yep. So until we see you guys, we'll see many of you tomorrow. Awesome. And until next time,
hodl on.
Welcome to Two Women in Crypto, a weekly podcast